So Mad Max.
No!
Anyway, welcome to the next topic. This is Good Suck Movies. This bite-sized bickering. I'm Gabe.
I'm Jack.
And I'm Vanessa.
And we are talking about Good Suck Movies once again. Jack told me not to bring up Mad Max because
It's a good movie, and he just happens to dislike it, which does not make it a good suck movie.
okay, so I dislike it. I hate it because other people expect me to like it. And they want me, they're so mad. People get so mad when I don't like Mad Max.
That's their problem, not yours.
I've never
I
seen
understand,
it.
but
that
it-
makes you feel better.
It's a good
It's the new one that we're talking about, Fury Road, and I watched it. It was the only movie I almost walked out of just because like it was really boring. And it was near the end of the movie. I'm pretty sure when I wanted to walk out, and I was just kind of done with it, and I was like, I'm gonna leave. And then like my friend would not let me leave the theater, but this was at the Procrastinator, mind you, too. So I only spent like $2 on
Totally,
it, so I
yeah.
didn't feel too bad walking out of the movie.
Yeah, we all have those movies, right, that everybody else likes or a good portion of other people like. Like, I didn't like Prometheus, the, like, Aliens prequel.
Did anyone like Prometheus?
A pile of people like that movie. I've been disagreed with plenty of times.
Really?
Yeah.
No one I have talked to likes that movie.
Cool. Good. I'm in the majority then. I thought I was
You
in
are
the
definitely
minority.
in the majority. No one likes Prometheus. People
Cool.
for alien movies, people like. I'm pretty sure it's Alien 1, Alien 2. That's it.
Alien 3 wasn't awful.
Like Alien, like that. But that's the thing is other. Making sure we're recording. Other alien movies are pretty much just like eh. Well, like the first one is just like it sets the precedent for it. The first alien movie I ever saw was the most recent one that came out.
I don't think I've seen any alien movie other than Prometheus that came out after 95.
Right on.
Oh my God, it's a thundering.
Okay, so I want to talk about a movie that I really like that I don't ever tell people about.
Now you're telling the world.
And I'm telling everybody. So, okay, there's a series of movies. I think they were on Amazon when I watched them. I think there's 5 movies. And it's the Mythica series. And so it's basically it's one of those movies
Is that the
has
movie with David Bowie?
I don't think
No.
so.
No, that's like the Never-Ending Story or something like that.
Never-Ending Story is David Bowie.
Maybe. I don't fucking know.
Anyways.
Anyway,
It's one of those movies that has like a decent start or plot. It's been a while since you've drank, huh?
yeah, apparently.
Anyways, it's one of those movies that like you are like, oh, this has so much potential to make it really great, and it falls short, but you love it anyway because.
I might have to check this out.
because
Yeah.
but so just to kind of give you like a synopsis, it's about a girl who is a slave. She escapes from her master, but she's a necromancer, and she like
Plot
doesn't
twist,
know
necromancer.
that. She doesn't know that. Really, she just knows she's magical. She doesn't really know.
This
her
time I have a
origins,
timer.
whatever.
Anyway, keep going.
And so she escapes and she goes to a magician who, like, she's met a few times and has convinced to teach her a few things. But he's kind of just entertained her this whole time of knowing her for, like, years of her being a slave because she has a club foot and, like, can't get around super great, but she's really willful and adventurous and this really great protagonist.
Yeah.
What's interesting is, so she escapes and she kind of gets a gang together and they go on all these adventures and they become like people who they're like kind of like bounty hunters, sort of. But what I didn't know after watching
Is
the
this
first
the movie you're talking about?
Yes, after watching the first movie and finding out that it was like
Well.
bad but good, but mostly bad.
Well, it has positive reviews.
Yes. I ended up getting sucked in. I watched, like, the first few in a couple days, and then I finished the last 2 movies in a single night. And then I, like, started looking up, and I was like, if this is a book, I want to read it. Because, like, the movie's bad, but the book's probably really good.
Totally.
It wasn't a book. It's actually a whole movie series funded by Kickstarter based on D&D.
That sounded like
That sounds
like
awesome,
a
actually.
D&D character's backstory was a slave with a club foot, but didn't know she was a necromancer, and then like gathered a group of people together and became mercenaries. I was like, that sounds like
It was really
a
good.
D&D crew.
And I've never played D&D. I have not ever played a role-playing game, actually. But
Why'd you grab my leg and look at me like that?
Because I'm dating someone who's never played D&D.
Oh,
which is an affront to my ancestors. I understand.
anyway,
I actually hadn't played
it pulled
D&D
me
till
in.
like 2 years ago.
And it's really good. I'd recommend it to people. Just go.
Well, I'm looking online. It
It's
says
like,
most people like it. It's got like a
Yeah.
98% or 89% rating.
you
What-
get so attached. I don't think it really gets better as you get further into the movies, but
Not gonna lie, your sales pitch not great.
just watch it. It's
You're like a
good
drug
one.
dealer that's just saying like, here's heroin. Great at first, it just goes downhill from there.
No, but it's one that I really liked and definitely just watched in a week, less than a week, and I'm happy with it.
It sounds like a fun. A movie you and I liked that not a lot of other people liked was Bright.
Totally. Yes. That's
I
a
thought
good
that
one.
was pretty good, even though it was a Will Smith movie, and I hate Will Smith movies except for Hancock. Really like Hancock, which have you seen Hancock?
Yeah,
have
like
you guys
a
seen
million
Hancock?
years ago. I honestly don't remember
Wait,
anything about the
yes.
like dancing Q-tip scene. No, that's a different one.
That's a different movie. You might not
I
have
think
seen
it's a Will Smith movie though.
Hancock. Hancock is
Which
the
one's
super.
Hancock?
It's the superhero movie.
Maybe
That
I
Will
haven't
Where
Smith.
it's
seen
like
Hancock.
he and the other woman are like drawn to each other across the globe throughout eternity.
But anyway, so like the
No, I
basic
must have missed that
the
one.
basic premise is that he is a superhero in modern times. Though he's been alive since like the 60s, for all he knows, he has no memory before like waking up in a hospital with superpowers.
Wait.
And his name is John Hancock because they asked him for his John Hancock,
So
and he didn't.
wrote
Yeah,
that.
he wrote that because he didn't know anything else.
Right
And
on.
so he's an alcoholic superhero, and it was really good, a really good movie. One of the opening lines is like, of course, like classic like Will Smith moment, but it was pretty well written. Like he busts through the roof of these people robbing a bank, and he's like slightly drunk, like while trying to save the day, and so he's just like they're just like yelling at him, and he's just got this like headache, and he's just like, all right, if you all don't shut up right now, I'm gonna put your head in his ass. I'm gonna put his head in your ass. I'm gonna put your head in his ass. I'm gonna put his head in my ass. And then he just flies out, takes the car, throws it onto a spire. So it like pierces the engine. But like it's a really good movie, really well written. I really like the villain of the movie because the villain has like no power whatsoever.
I don't
And
remember
so-
the villain.
Well, the villain like is only significant for like 10 minutes of the movie, and then so like you see him piss the villain off, and then most of the other conflict is all these like other human conflicts. So it's like the problem with like having powers and like no one being able to stop you in a world that's
Right.
supposed to have all these rules and regulations. And so like he technically like causes a lot of property damage and stuff. So there's actually like a good portion of the movie where he's in prison voluntarily serving his time for like all this property damage he's caused.
Wacky.
Until like, cause like
I
he's
feel
working
like
with
the
a guy who's like a
Avengers would be in prison for the rest of eternity.
yeah, but so like he's working with this guy who's like working on his brand, who's played by I think it's Jason Statham, who the guy from Arrested Development.
Sure. Yeah.
But like who like that guy has a career in like branding.
Sure.
Right, and creating like just these big brands, and so he works with Hancock to like make himself a better brand and make himself a more approachable hero, because like that's what Hancock wants to be at the end of the day, is viewed as a hero
Sure.
instead of just like this destructive force to be feared.
Yeah.
And like you examine these like his intense like emotional connections with all these other characters and whatnot, and it's just a well-written movie.
Cool.
And it's not really
I'll have to
about
check
the
it out.
superhero like aspect as much as it is about like the relationships between him and this like his like branding coach and him and like that guy's wife, right? So it's a really good movie. And so anyway, back to Bright.
Back to
Bright
Bright.
is about in modern times, but orcs and elves and fairies and all that have existed.
How have I not seen this? How have you not shown me this?
It's
I
on
know.
so it's on Netflix. It stars Will Smith and who plays the orc?
I don't know. He had some cool name, but I definitely forgot it.
So it's about Will Smith getting partnered with the first orc police officer
In the U.S.
in
and at least in L.A. Right?
in L.A. And so they're talking about so it's just like delving into like racism like between humans and orcs and racism between like elves and humans.
Boom.
Boom, lightning.
I don't know if y'all can hear that, but there is some serious lightning happening out here.
Thunder. Annoying song gets stuck in my head. But anyway, and so it's just like
Joel
Matt-
Edgerton is the orc.
that is a good name.
Isn't
That is
it?
a good name.
I mean, this is him as a human, not him as an orc.
But and so it's just them dealing with like magic's illegal. Or not illegal, but it's like
It's
severely
phenomenally
regulated.
rare and
Severely regulated when it does appear. Like they call in a special government agency to deal with it. And a lot of people did not like it, and I understand why.
Yeah,
it's a weirdly weird pacing and all
It's
that.
got weird writing, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but it's weird.
Yeah, it is.
like-
I'm in the same boat.
Like, yeah, it's
Hmm.
not a straightforward movie. It's not a movie that should be regarded as fine art by any stretch, but it's an enjoyable movie. I
It's
thoroughly
enjoyable.
enjoyed.
And I think like one of the best parts about the movie is like it's fairly easy to understand. Like you may not get the lore of it, but you just get things.
Yeah.
Like when they're in front of you. And so like you know about as much as the characters know and you understand as much as the characters understand.
Totally, and there's weird pop culture references to modern day things that may or may not have developed in a world like that. But if you're really concerned about that while watching a movie like this, you're way overthinking it.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a lot of people we know. That's their problem with the movies. They're like, in a world with orcs and elves, like the world just wouldn't exist as it is, and
Yeah.
like in this movie, the world exists as it
It's
is.
just fiat. You gotta buy the premise, and you can enjoy the rest of the movie.
I think more movies of it are planned, which I hope more come out. 'cause,
Yeah, I
like,
would definitely.
I would
watch the
definitely
Bright
watch them too.
franchise.
because it is really cool. It's a really cool franchise, and Vanessa, if you haven't seen it, you should totally
We can
watch it.
definitely watch it someday.
But another movie that's good, Zach, that I've seen, I don't know if you guys have seen, is a horror movie on Netflix. It is a cosmic horror film called The Void, which the best way to describe
Heard of
this,
it.
yeah, the best way to describe The Void is that it's a movie that doesn't have a budget, and then halfway through it gets a budget. Like all of a sudden, like the acting and everything is better, like right.
Yeah.
And it's just like it was a movie that like I watched it with Liam and we made fun of it until the halfway point hits, and the movie just went dead quiet. And at the end of the movie, like Liam said, because it was at night and he wanted to go home, and he's like, "Can you walk me into my car?" And to which my response was, "No, because then who's gonna walk me back to my house?" Like you're on your own, man. If there are people out there waiting to kill you, but it's like all takes place in a hospital, and like the lore is weird to understand, and like you don't get it until that halfway mark, and then there's just like that one photo that clears everything, of course, right?
Word.
And it's one of those movies. It's really good. It's really good. I recommend it.
Word. Yeah. we should
And
definitely
I
check
recommend
it out.
watching the Death Note movie just because.
No,
I
I'm
think
never gonna
everyone should
watch
have
that
their
shit.
own. I think everyone should watch things that have their own opinions.
No, I.
I'm never gonna watch that. No, I don't
No,
want
you should
to.
watch the manga or the anime and enjoy like the amazingly beautiful thing it is. And
So even in Japan, like the Japanese versions of like live action versions of shows, typically get criticized, like as well because they're like.
you can't do what like anime. I know that this is a topic we've already talked about, but anime can do things that you can't do with live action because of the nature of the art form. And
Right.
yeah, like to a certain degree, that's why TV shows have like surpassed
One movie I might
movies.
watch.
What are we on time wise? I feel like we got like 2 minutes left.
We got 3 minutes left.
3 minutes left.
So, one movie I might watch about an anime I've been watching, a live action version, because people say it's actually decently good. It's a Japanese version, of course. But it's like, it's called Assassination Classroom. Have either of you heard anything about this?
No.
So, Assassination Classroom is an anime about. It's a classroom in a school that has like sort of this fascist society. What the fuck are you doing?
My mic. Sorry to the world for my nose thunder.
But anyway, this classroom, it's essentially set in this school system that's like based on like ridiculing bad grades so much that they allocate like all the trouble students to this one classroom. And in this one classroom, like out of nowhere, this tentacled being appears. And he says, because like, first off, opening of the thing is this, like, by the way, 70% of our moon has been blown up. And they're like, we don't know how this happened. And this tentacle being appears and says, I've done this.
Huh.
And so, I will do it again, like, in like a year. And I've given your government the chance to stop me. Under this stipulation. So he's told them like how to create these special like BBs and knives that will only hurt him and they won't hurt other people. Because they're essentially made of this like rubber material that's only effective against him, right?
Sure.
And so he says, all I want to do is teach. So he teaches this classroom of misfits, right? And like that's his one goal. And so then the government gives them these weapons and stuff created to just kill him. And then they're like, okay, your job is to kill him. First person to do it gets 10 billion yen. Which is like $100 million in American, right? And they're just like, oh, shit. And so they're like, by the way, he's going to blow up like a good portion of the earth if you don't do this in a certain amount of time. Bye. And like,
here's the carrot, here's the stick. Bye.
And then they're like, this tentacle thing moves at like Mach 20. Like regenerates limbs if you don't like shoot off enough of it like within a certain amount of time. And so it is like insane, like the smartest being on the planet.
Yeah.
And so no one knows how to like deal with him and whatnot. And so now it's just like, all right, you get to like you get to assassinate him. Bye. Also, this is super top secret. We don't know why we're telling this classroom, but he's told he's not allowed to hurt them. And he's like super friendly towards them. It's like super slice of life / there's a tentacle being on the screen.
That sounds hilarious.
It is pretty fucking great. Like it is super entertaining. My brother watched it. He's like, this is technically not good.
Technically not good. You guys use technically a lot.
Yeah.
It's a Gilbertson thing.
This is a Gilbertson thing to say technically a lot. He's like, this is technically... Oh, 4 seconds left. This is technically not good.
This is technically the end of the show.
And this is technically the end of the show. But anyway, recommend watching it.
On to the next topic.
All right, on to the next
Hey, I
topic.
beat you to it.
I know, I'm sad.